Have you ever waited for something with so much excitement, only for it to turn out, well, a bit underwhelming? Today we're traveling back in time to 1939 to a small, picturesque town somewhere in Europe, where the entire community was waiting for one thing, a perfect white Christmas. But the weather, it seems, had a peculiar sense of humor. The story begins in early December. The air grew crisp, the kind of cold that bites at your cheeks and promises snow. Shopkeepers decorated their windows with cotton wool snow and sparkling tinsel. Children pressed their noses against frosty window panes, their breath fogging up the glass as they scanned the skies. The local newspaper, the Daily Chronicle, even ran a front-page headline, "Winter's white blanket expected soon." The whole town was buzzing. They imagined snowball fights in the town square, building snowmen with carrot noses and coal eyes, and hearing that satisfying crunch under their boots. Christmas carols would sound just a little more magical with a gentle snowfall as the backdrop. The stage was set for a holiday straight out of a storybook. As the days ticked by, the anticipation reached a fever pitch. Old Man Hemlock, the town's unofficial weather expert who claimed he could predict snow by the ache in his left knee, hobbled around declaring, "Any day now. My knee hasn't been this talkative since the blizzard of '28." Everyone believed him. Why wouldn't they? His knee had a better track record than the official weather service. School children whispered in classrooms, not about their lessons, but about their sledding strategies. Who would build the biggest snow fort? Who could slide fastest down Miller's Hill? These were the important questions of the day. Then on Christmas Eve it finally happened. Sort of. A few lonely, hesitant snowflakes began to drift down from a slate-gray sky. At first there was a collective gasp of joy. Children rushed outside, their tongues out, trying to catch the first flakes of the season. But their excitement quickly turned to confusion. The snowflakes were tiny, almost apologetic. They were so delicate that the moment they touched the ground or a coat or an outstretched mitten, they vanished. It wasn't snowing. It was more like the sky was just suggesting snow. Hour after hour, this strange, non-committal weather continued. It was a constant, almost mocking drizzle of snowflakes that refused to stick. The ground remained stubbornly brown and damp. The rooftops stayed dark. The children, who had been so full of energy, now just stood in the street, staring up at the sky with a look of profound disappointment. Little Elsie, a girl known for her boundless optimism, was heard sighing, "It's like the snow is too shy to stay." The adults tried to make the best of it. They gathered in the town's cozy tavern, sipping warm drinks and watching the phantom flurry. Mayor Thompson, always one for a good speech, stood on a chair and announced, "Well, it's not exactly a blizzard, but it's almost charming, isn't it?" His statement was met with a few polite chuckles and a lot of half-hearted nods. The phrase "almost charming" quickly became the unofficial motto of Christmas 1939. Christmas morning arrived, and the scene was just as perplexing. The air was cold, the sky was gray, and the lazy, melting snowflakes continued their pointless descent. It was the ghost of a white Christmas. The children opened their presents, brand-new sleds, shiny ice skates, warm woolen gloves, and looked at them with a sense of irony. Their new sleds sat by the front door, looking as useless as a boat in a desert. The strange weather persisted for another week. Right into the new year, the sky just kept teasing the town with the possibility of winter, but never delivered. It was a snowfall that simply wouldn't commit. When the sun finally broke through in the first week of January, it felt like the end of a very long, very strange joke. But the story doesn't end there. This meteorological oddity became a beloved piece of local folklore. For decades afterward, whenever something didn't quite live up to expectations, people would say, "Well, it's like the snow of '39. If a baker's cake didn't tea-rise properly, it was a 39 cake. If a local sports team almost won a game but fumbled at the last second, they had pulled a 39. Historians who later wrote about the town's history couldn't help but mention the event. One scholar, in a rather poetic moment, described it as the winter that nearly tried. It was a perfect summary. The winter of 1939 hadn't failed spectacularly. It just hadn't really shown up. It was a winter of almosts, of maybes, of what could have beens. Years later, the children of 1939, now grandparents themselves, would tell the story to their own grandchildren. They'd talk about the brand new sleds that never touched snow and the strange, phantom flurry that haunted their Christmas. And strangely, they'd tell the story not with disappointment, but with a smile. The great non-snowfall had become a fond memory, a quirky chapter in their town's history. It was a reminder that sometimes the most memorable moments are the ones that don't go according to plan. The imperfect, the underwhelming, the almost charming events are what create the stories we pass down through generations. So, the next time you're waiting for that perfect movie moment, and it doesn't quite happen, just remember the snowfall that wouldn't commit. It might not be what you hoped for, but it could become a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this little trip back in time, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.